I was referred by my addiction specialist doctor. He gave me the name of it, and I did some research, and I heard outstanding things about the treatment center, about Sovereign, so I decided to call him and get my insurance, you know, my insurance benefits confirmed and all that, and went from there. I'm a heroin addict. I have been for many, many years. I served in the Marine Corps and been in combat. Been to Iraq 2 different times and a couple of other tours. And I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. And addiction was a problem before that, but it really picked up when I got back from combat. Mm-hmm. And then basically for the last 7 or 8 years, it's just been a downward spiral, and a consistent and intense downward spiral of addiction. So many times I thought I've hit my rock bottom, just to find out that I can go even lower. Mm-hmm. And so I've been through, the what do they call it, the rotating doors, what do they call it, of treatment. I've been to so many treatment centers that have treated me for the physical symptoms of withdrawal and all that, but they don't really treat the underlying causes of why I use, my dual diagnosis and, my PTSD is, along with some depression issues and addiction. So this place is really unique in that sense. Mm-hmm. I feel like, other treatment centers, I haven't been ready to leave, and I've known that, but I've had to leave because it was my time to go, but I don't feel rushed by Sovereign, and I feel like they're doing everything they can to really help me to discover why I use. Well, like I just touched on, the dual diagnosis, I think it was really key for me. I can't speak for other addicts, although I will say that I don't think there's such thing as an addict who doesn't have any mental health issues, because addiction is just a symptom of a greater problem. The drugs and the alcohol, for me and for most people, I believe, are just a symptom of an underlying issue. So the dual diagnosis, sort of fighting the war on 2 fronts, was really appealing to me. That they'll give you meds and they'll deal with the physical symptoms of withdrawal, like I said, but they'll also treat you for mental health, post-traumatic stress disorder. I have flashbacks, and I have dreams, I have nightmare issues and depression. So all that is being treated, as well as really, really extensive therapy. My first impression upon arrival, I was really sick. I was in really severe heroin withdrawal, and what I noticed is that they were very attentive to my needs. They were as quickly as possible trying to get me to a house where I could be comfortable, get me on my meds, get me stabilized, get some food in me so I would start feeling better. They were doing everything they could to make me feel comfortable and feel welcome. I've been to so many other treatment centers that had promised me things, promised that they'd be different than other treatment centers, and no treatment center has really followed through. So my expectations, to be honest, even though I had read good things, I just expected it to be another treatment center that I've been to. They make these promises that they can't follow through with, and in a month I'll be leaving, just as sick as I was when I got here. Mm-hmm. So I had low expectations. Sovereign Health absolutely exceeded my expectations. I've stayed in several houses. I've loved them all. I think that they're all very conducive to recovery. They're all in nice neighborhoods. They all have very private, comfortable rooms, comfortable beds, a lot of bathrooms. Most of the houses I've stayed in have had some sort of sauna or bathtubs. The house managers are fantastic. The meals are great. They cook very good food. You have the fridge is you have access to the refrigerator, which is stocked with food, and the pantries and the closets, it's full of food. You definitely do not go hungry here at Sovereign. TVs with satellite or cable, and there's every amenity that I possibly could have expected or wanted. They have it at the house. Very comfortable living situation. the clinical staff, the therapists, they run fantastic groups, they facilitate fantastic groups. My therapist is Travis, and he's been my therapist for 3.5 months now since I got here, and he's a fantastic therapist. The thing I like and appreciate most about him is that he holds me accountable. He knows that the kind of person I am. I'm always just trying to push the envelope a little bit and get away with things, and he doesn't let me. I told him my expectations and my goals when I got here, that I wanted to grow as a person, I wanted to take accountability and take responsibility, and he hasn't let me slip since I've been here. I always know that he's doing what's best for me, and that he cares. I mean, he comes from a place of caring. So I love my therapist. If I could keep him as my therapist for the rest of my life, I would. And all for the most part, the other staff, especially the house managers and the other therapists, and the nursing staff, I would say, are just top notch. A couple groups during the day that I look forward to, and it usually is more about the counselors or the therapists that are facilitating them, more than specifically what group they are. I have my favorites, but I've never walked out of a group and said to myself, I got nothing out of that. There's always something in a group that sticks with me, or that I hear that really affects me. There's always at least one thing, or maybe it's something that another client said in a group, but I always walk out of groups feeling better off for going to them. Individual therapy, I believe I touched on. I think I make the most progress from individual therapy with my therapist. He's a fantastic therapist, and I honestly don't think I would be here if not for him. And then I always look forward to on Wednesdays doing our experiential groups, our outings. We go to the movies, or we go bowling, or we go to the beach. And it's a lot of fun to it's great being in treatment, but sometimes it can get a little, monotonous, or intense, I should say intense. And it's nice to just break up the tension a little bit with, having some fun. Well, I love art therapy. As you can see, I have paint all over my jeans and all over my rosary here. I'm in there all the time. I love to paint. It's one thing about art therapy that's so cool, I think, at least in my case, is the biggest tragedy that in my addiction is it's taken my sense of self, sort of. I used to be creative, and I used to know who I was, and I used to know what I wanted. But after suffering through addiction for so many years, I think I don't really have a grasp on who I am, So finding my creative self again, finding my creativity, going in there and just painting, just starting to paint without any intentions, without any expectations, I find it really therapeutic. We wake up around 6:30, take our meds. We usually go to the gym, or we go on a beach walk, something of that nature, something just to sort of wake up, have some coffee, have some breakfast if you want it. And then we usually have to be at the center during the week. We have to be at the center by 10 o'clock, and from 10 to 4:30 we'll have groups off and on throughout the day. You might have an individual session with your therapist, or a doctor's appointment, or something of that nature. We have lunch, I think 11:50 to 12:30. It's usually pretty good food. And then at 4:30, when we're finished with the day, we're picked up by our house managers, brought back home, where there's usually a very good dinner waiting for us. And in the evening, it's just sort of our time to relax. If we want to go to an AA meeting or an NA meeting, we can. Or if we want to just relax and watch a movie and unwind from the day, we can do that too. But one thing you can say about Sovereign is that you won't be bored here. Mostly every minute of the day is accounted for. Friendships, I think, the friendships that I've made with the other clients here, the other addicts. It's amazing being in a situation like this with other people. You're sort of forced to be real with each other and be honest, and it breeds a lot of intimacy and a lot of closeness. I think some of the best friends I've ever had in this life I met here at Sovereign.